Hi everybody, welcome back. Just to give you an update, yes, I've started school. We are in the second week of school, and that goes for me and my son, really. Um, we are doing okay. Um, since it's just the beginning, there isn't really a whole lot of pressure or stress. As you can see, I've decided to do a full hijab this morning. Um, because today I have to go to a museum in order to do some homework for my geology class. And some people may think, why are you taking geology? And it's because I've taken biology before, and I'm kind of burnt out on biology. So as my required 1 year of a lab course, I've decided to go with geology. And I'm doing fairly well in it, and I enjoy it. And I have a friend that I took the class prior, the kind of prerequisite class with, and she's awesome. And hopefully, I will be seeing her today at the museum here in Knoxville. So, last weekend I kind of blew up and stuff at my husband, and it was because I had forgotten to take my medication. I got really anxious and really frustrated and was yelling and just being belligerent. And I realized, like, oh shit, I forgot to take my medicine. And I'm sorry for those of you who are offended by my language sometimes. It's very rare, but I can't help it sometimes. I was in the military for a long time, so everybody swore, and so every once in a while it kind of slips out. So I'm sorry if I offend you, and I don't mean to be offensive, and I don't mean to swear on this channel because I don't want you to think that I can't think of better words than those swear words. But that was what went through my head. And so I got home, took my medicine right away, and my husband reminded me even after the fact, like, did you take your medicine? And I said, yes, I'd already taken it. And, it's just a thing. Like, sometimes I just forget. Even though I have alarms set up to remind me, I get so caught up in everything else that the time just flies by and I've forgotten to take it. It's the same thing that happens to me at night, where my alarm will go off and I'll be like, okay, I'll do it. But I turn the alarm off and I don't take my medicine right away, or I don't take it at all. And then I'm wondering why I'm not falling asleep when I should be asleep, or why I haven't fallen asleep at all. So those things are kind of like a regular occurrence for me. And I'm not really proud of it. Like, I'd like to think that I can function without alarms, or without the aid of something like reminding me, oh, you should do this, oh, you should do that. I need alarms and stuff like that in order to kind of keep me in check, because otherwise I just won't do it. Like, it'll completely slip my mind. I don't know if any of you who have disorders come across that kind of situation where you forget to take your medicine or whatnot, but I know that it happens to me fairly frequently, and it's not on purpose. It is always on accident, and I can't think of another remedy other than having the alarms on my phone to kind of remind me that I need to take them. On a different note, I have so many, like, comments thanking me for my videos, and it's like, well, I want to say thank you for messaging me and thanking me, but I really want to know why, because it helps me kind of develop a conversation to have with you all instead of like just trying to haphazardly guess what it is, because I'm not a mind reader. I don't know what it is that you all like or dislike about this channel. The only thing that I can say is that, you know, I have already touched base about my beliefs and how they relate to me and how, you know, I see the world. Even though I am a Muslim and practice Islam, I am not, you know, a believer of belittling people because they have different beliefs other than me, or, you know, their sexual prowess is different than mine. You know, whatever they choose to do is what they're going to choose to do, and the only thing I can do is focus on myself. And that seems rather selfish, but until you can find no fault inside yourself, you can not go and address other people. Like, that's just my opinion. I am a very flawed person, even as a Muslim. I still struggle, you know. I still smoke every once in a while, and I'm really striving to quit altogether. But it is so hard because my husband's a smoker, and so I'm around it constantly. And it's the same thing with drinking, but my husband doesn't drink all that often. My husband smokes and dips and stuff every day. And so it's like constantly in my face, and it's like, how do I get past that craving stage when I have it constantly in front of me? And I'm still trying to work out how to do that. And, you know, the only thing I can say is that I have to distance myself from my husband when he's doing those things. And that's really hard because he does them 24/7. If he's not smoking a cigarette outside, he is dipping inside the house. And it is gross. You know, I'm not very fond of people who dip, but, you know, I fell in love with him before I found out he was a big dipper. And, you know, you can't help the people you love, and, you know, you just, you want what's best for you and what's best for them, but sometimes they don't meet. And so I'm ever striving to figure out a way to quit smoking without completely alienating my husband. Because that just isn't fair to him or to me, because he's my partner. I want to spend time with him. I want to talk with him. I want to hang out with him and be his friend and be his wife and his lover. But at the same token, I don't want to constantly be immersed in this, like, bad habit. So, that's a work in progress. And if you have any helpful tips for me, I will gladly take your advice and try it out and see how it works. I've tried, like, chewing gum or sucking on hard candy, or just kind of distancing myself from smokers. But, you know, it's really hard to get past that craving stage. I even did the electronic cigarette thing, where you're not taking in all the carcinogens, but you're taking in the nicotine. And nothing really seems to work. So, like, the only thing you can really do is go cold turkey, as they would say, where you just cut it off altogether and just stop, which is something I've tried in the past and it worked, but eventually I ended up going back to smoking because it was a social norm and it was something that was socially expected and accepted. So I just became a smoker again. So, tell me what works for you if you are a person who has struggled with an addiction of any type. Like I said, I'm not a perfect person. I have dealt with other things that were addictions, such as drinking excessively and other stuff. And, I will attest to the fact that I did do a lot of harm to my body and to myself by taking intoxicants, such as drugs. So, the way that I found with dealing with that was just completely separating myself from those environments and not being a party to them. But I can't do that in this situation because my husband is my husband, and I can't really just divorce him because I want to quit smoking. That's kind of a cop-out to me. So I need to figure out a way to have the two coexist. Me quitting smoking and maintaining my marriage. So if you have any helpful tips as to how to deal with that, I will greatly appreciate it, and I will take your advice. And I hope to hear some feedback from you all. I don't really have anything else to talk about. Like I said, I get a lot of thank yous and a lot of blessings and praises from people, but it's like I want to know why it is that you like this channel, why it is that you like what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is just what I believe and what I know, and I want to know which topics of our conversations that I have on YouTube really touched you, because then we can go deeper into those subjects and really nail down some things that hit home for you as the viewers. Like, I've talked about relationships, whether it be, dating relationship or marriage or engagement, like the means of communicating with your partner. I've talked about going back to school and how important that is, and how it's a struggle that, getting back onto that track and really going for something that you have as a goal and really striving for that. I've talked about, being a parent and dealing with your child going to school for the first time and all the concerns that you may have. And it's really just hysterical to look back on my son's first day and how much I was concerned about my son and what people would think of him because of who I am and what I believe. And really, nobody said anything. Nobody did anything. It was all just in my head. And we just tend to overanalyze things. And I think that when we overanalyze things, we just build up that anxiety that lives inside ourselves. And, instead of really thinking about the facts of people are like small children, they don't see religion or gender or race or creed or any of that stuff. They just see another child. They don't see what we as adults see because they haven't learned those things yet. Like, I worry about, a racist boy or girl being in my son's class, because I'm a Muslim, and them attacking my son. But do they really understand racism at 5 years old? I don't think they do. I remember, like on the second day of Lonzo going to school, his lunchbox got stolen by another kid. Now, does that kid really know that he's stealing, or does he just think he's getting something that is pretty, that he likes, and nobody is claiming it, so it's up for grabs? You know, like things that are lost and found, after a certain period of time, that somebody can claim it for themselves. And, you know, I wonder, like, what goes on through a 5-year-old's mind to think that way, to think that just because somebody hasn't claimed something, that they have the right to claim it. What initiates that? What sparks that thought? And I don't know if it's just the way parents are, and the parents have taught them that, or they've just learned that habit on their own. But the child that did that to my son has been known to do it to other kids. So obviously there's a pattern there, and there's need for concern to teach that child that that's not appropriate behavior. The school assured me that my son would not be in the same class with that boy, but at the same token, that boy is in a class with other kids, and he might do that to them. Does that really solve the matter? My son did end up eating lunch, and the parents of the child who stole his lunchbox actually ended up paying the school for the lunch that my child ate from the lunch line. But my son's very laid back and very kind of just go with the flow. And I don't think he thought about his lunchbox when it was lunchtime. I don't think he thought to grab it and that he needed it, because I don't think he was really hungry. And, you know, my son's fond of eggs. And they were having eggs and biscuits and gravy for the lunch line, and so that's what he ate. Not even thinking he had a lunchbox full of food that this other kid ended up taking. So, you know, like, we just never know what's going on in the heads of a child, and what changes in a child's mind as they develop into an adult. Like, we as adults influence children so much. So are we going to give them the appropriate message? Are we going to say to them, you know, this is right, this is wrong, please understand that this is why we do things the way we do? Because there's no acceptable reason for producing negative thoughts or emotions out of a child. Like, a child should not have negative thoughts or feelings towards other children or towards other people in general, because they're not that advanced. They're still learning. There's still so much life to do. And my son is playing the drums right now and making a lot of noise. I don't know if you can hear him, but I can hear him, and he's very loud. But I'm going to cut this off here because I want your input. Do you think children are really products of their parents and their parents' influence on them, or do you think they really learn things for themselves and have laws drawn up on their own as adults do? You know, adults kind of define the law a little bit as they grow up, like, you know, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable behavior, whereas children are kind of taught that. Do you think that children eventually figure out laws for themselves things that are acceptable for themselves as good and bad behavior. You tell me. Leave a comment or message me. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I am always open to messages and comments, and I respond as quickly as I possibly can. I really enjoy your feedback. Thank you so much. I've had over 275 views, and I hope that, this continues to be a productive channel. But I need your help, because I need your feedback on what you want to know. Because I can't just sit here and talk about my own stuff all the time. I can speak from my own experience, but I can't just pop topics off the top of my head and explain what's going on there, because sometimes my brain is scrambled and I end up rambling on about different stuff throughout these conversations. So we have jumped literally a couple of different times in this conversation on different topics, but I think that the main focus of this is, like, what is your view? Do children or do the adults in a child's life really influence the child? Please leave your feedback. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe, and stay watching. Thank you. Bye.